Whenever we make an assumption, what we want to do is we are saying that that something is going to be this type, or it's going to have a certain value. Now, if it doesn't meet our expectations, our assertions of what it should be, then we can throw an error using the assert function. So let's take a look at this. We have a basic example that you can run in older PHP versions, but please do note that PHP 7 does come with new functionality when it comes to the assert function. So what I want to do here is I want to create a variable called num, and it contains string data, a string value called hello. Now what I want to do is I want to test the value of this variable, and I want to see if it is numeric, if it is a valid number type, whether it be a float or an int. Well, at the moment it will fail the test, so it didn't meet our assertions, our assumptions, and we then want the program to error. So I'm going to make an assertion by calling the assert function. The first parameter is going to be, let's say, a value of 0 or 1. That's what will be returned from isNumeric. And 0 is falsy or false, and 1 is truthy or true. So right now we are going to take a look at this variable which contains a string, and it is not numeric. So this function will look at that variable and it will return 0, falsy. And in lieu of that fact, what it will do is it will print out the second parameter, which is the string. And that will tell us, something about our assertion. Sorry, it didn't meet our expectations. Num was supposed to be a number type, and so forth. So if I just run this code right now, we get a warning that says, look, it didn't meet our assertions. There's the line number. You can take a look at it. And also, there is the second parameter, that string, that error message. Now, if it did meet our expectations, then we wouldn't get an error. So I'm going to make this numeric now, which will meet our assertion, and there's no error. But there's nothing special that we're doing here. What is new in PHP 7? Well, firstly, you can have all kinds of things going off in this first parameter. This parameter previously could have something like this, is it numeric, return 0 or 1 based on that assumption. But you couldn't really do much more than that. But now you can also just quickly test your assertion. So you could say false. So it will now accept a Boolean value for the first parameter. And as this is false, it will print out the error message. Hit refresh. There's the error message. You could also polymorph. If it returns 0, 0 is falsy, you'll get the error. 1 is true, you will not get the error. True, you won't get the error. And also, you can have statements. You can start using some more operators, and you can try and compare the value. So, is the value of num greater than 200? This is falsy. Num is 100 and it's less than 200. Hit refresh. I get the warning. If I was to say, is num greater than 50? Then it's met our assumption that num is greater than 50. And we don't get any error. So that is the first parameter that has been changed, and it allows us to have a bit more flexibility when making assumptions in our program. Now, also what's new in PHP is the ability to throw objects. So instead of throwing an error string, you can actually throw an object. So what I'll do is I'll say, is num greater than 500? So it's going to fail the assertion. But now what I'd like to do is throw an object when it errors. So the way in which I do that is I set an option called assert.exception. So we set options and configurations through any_set. We're setting that option to 1, so we're enabling it. And then that will allow you to throw an object in the event that your assertions fail. So now, what I'd like to do is create a new instance of the handle error class that extends the assertion error class. That's very important because once we enable this, we can now extend the assertion error class. And when we do that, we can then throw an object that will give us all kinds of errors and so forth. So I have a new handle error class that I'm initializing. And if I go ahead and just save this now and hit refresh, you'll notice it said there was a fatal error. And you'll notice right here it says uncaught handle error. That is the name of our class. That's the object that's being returned. And even if this class right here doesn't have any constructor functions, properties, or methods, it's just completely empty, you can still give it a string. So I could say some error text. So now that I've established this object from the handle error class and I've now passed it a string, let's see what it produces. You'll notice we have the class name and then also we have some error text as well. And you can treat this like a regular class where you could receive certain pieces of information and so forth. So it is actually very nice if you were to have complex assertions, and what you'd like to do is have maybe a class or a single object that deals with the errors that are produced. So there you are. You can now make assertions with the brand new assert construct. So in PHP 7, it's no longer the assert function, it is now an assert construct. And it takes 2 parameters, and those parameters have now been updated so that you have more options available to you.